Hi, Lyssa deHart here, and today I want to talk about RaeNotes, one of my very favorite tools. There have been a ton of new updates for 2026, and I'd love to share them with you. So today we're going to get into RaeNotes. Let's go. So here we are at RaeNotes, and I want to just run through a few things. First, I do have a QR code you can follow to get 20 minutes for free. It gives me 20 minutes. It's an affiliate link, but it'll give you 20 minutes for free to play with, and it'll help you to have an opportunity to see what this program is capable of. So again, follow the QR code right over there and see what you think. When you get to the RaeNotes website, you're going to see that there's a list of products that it has. You can click on that. You can check out the pricing. They also have a very robust help center, and then they also have resources like a blog or security about them. They also have a contact us section, and frankly, they are so lovely to work with. You can contact them and you will get a response from them. They're very, very responsive. But let's go into this help center section. And I think what's great about it is there's articles that you can read about pretty much everything, getting started, how to set everything up, as well as video tours of different things that you can find on RaeNotes. It is really designed for ICF, but it's also designed for the EMCC supervision competencies, as well as the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. So there's a lot of resources that it has baked into its program. I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to some sort of transcription service. And I guess what I want to say right here very clearly is that if you're using RaeNotes for transcription, that's great. But there are a lot of other tools out there, whether it's Fathom or Otter or just a Zoom transcript. You don't necessarily need RaeNotes for transcription. But if what you're doing is looking at your coaching and what you're trying to do is begin the process of critical exploration of your work, of really looking at what the thinker offered you, what your question was in response, and how your questions fit within the context of the competencies, I don't know that there is a better tool than RaeNotes. It is absolutely a fabulous tool for this. So I really want to say that. Also, if you need any help with how to upload an audio or video file, they have that. And newly added, you can now upload a transcript that does not have a audio or video file attached to it, which is really great if you are using some other program like Otter or Transcribe Me or Microsoft Teams or any other transcription service or a program that is giving you a transcript, then you can upload that. And what they do down here is they give you what it needs to look like. So for instance, if you're using Timmy, they're going to want it to look like this. So you would need to make sure that it was coming in like this, but you can then upload it to RaeNotes and be able to see it more as a transcript. And the reason this is important is that I've had a few times where people recorded the call on their phone, but really weren't able to access the MP3. It got lost somehow. And so they had a transcript, but they didn't have the MP3 anymore. And then they're like, I don't think I can do the mentor coaching with this call because I don't know how to upload it. And now they've fixed that for you. Hi, Lyssa deHart here. Please excuse the brief interruption. I wanted to take a minute to invite you to my monthly coaches Q&A. They happen the third Monday of every month. We talk about coaching topics, competencies, do coaching demonstrations, and talk about building your business. So my treat, I'd love to invite you. Please follow the link above, and I hope to see you in one of these monthly coaching Q&As. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Cheers. I'm not going to go through every single thing that they've got here. I can tell you that coming soon to RaeNotes near you will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, They will also have the ability for you to have your coaching call so that both you and the person you're working with, your thinker client, can both connect, whether it's through Zoom or through RaeNotes itself, and have the conversation, have it recorded, and it's instantly in the transcription section. So it's easy to just transcribe it that way. Honestly, I don't know if I would need that because I already have Zoom and I, can just get a transcript really easily from the MP3 that I get in my Zoom recording. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all the things that they have available, and I'm going to talk about some of them when we're in RaeNotes, but there is a lot of help here. So should you decide to play with RaeNotes, what you'll discover is that it's a pretty robust system and it has a lot of help for the things that you might want to do. So here you are at the login page, and it's going to log you in like any other login program. You're going to go here, you're going to put in your information. It's going to, get your email and password. You're going to log in. Mine opens up to a dashboard that has a bunch of folders in it. And frankly, you will not have all of these folders that I have because I've added them all, which is the first thing that I love about RaeNotes, is that I can organize all my recordings, whether it's I'm got recordings where I was talking to myself for books and articles, or whether it is for coaching calls for my MCC incubator program or my MCC library, or just coaching demos that I'm working on, or my level 2 program or my level 1 program or my group mentor coaching programs. And it's also where I can hold all of my mentor coaching sessions so that when people share them with me, I've got them organized so I can find them again. You can have a test folder. In this particular one, I have a video of a call that I was doing. And when I come back out here, I go, maybe I don't want that test folder anymore. So I can delete it. What will happen is I'll be asked if I'm sure I want to do that. I'm going to say yes. You'll see the video shows back right up here. And I can go in here and go past training session. Create that. Now I've got that in there. It's right here. And if I come over here to, whoops, that was not what I intended to do. If I come over here and I click on the 3 ellipses, it's pretty easy for me to move, and I can look at past training sessions and I can put it in here. And so now it's got a nice little home, and that's where it lives. Then when I'm looking for past training sessions, I can come in here, and I can also correct my spelling and add an S. Whoops, not an X, an S. Apply and make adjustments. I'm going to go in here to these calls that I have right here. And one of the things is when you come into RaeNotes, you're going to have the opportunity to add a recording. This is just as simple as dragging an MP3 call that you've had and just dropping it here. And then it would look something like this. I'll just put this here real quickly. And let's say I have this MP4A actually, which is still an audio version. It's going to have uploaded it, and I can choose AI transcript. It's going to ask me what language I want this in. And there are quite a few languages that I can choose from if the recording was done in another language. If it's done in English, choose English. But if it's done in Russian, Dutch, German, Spanish, English, Italian, Turkish, you get it. You can see all the different languages here. Choose that language, because what it will do is it will translate it in that language. The other thing that I found out that it did is, so for instance, if you're getting it done in Chinese, I saw this, it was showed it in characters in the transcript, and for the English speaking coach, it was translating the Chinese into English. So it was showing it in Chinese, but it was also translating it into English if you needed that done that way. So that's kind of cool. I'm not going to do this because I don't really want to transcript that recording, but I would go next and it would upload it, and then it would transcribe that information. I don't know if you saw right here, but I was talking a minute ago about the uploading text without an audio file. Again, you would choose your format, whether it's Otter or Zoom or Timmy or Rev or Transcribe Me, any of these things here, you can then just upload that file and it will then, you do the same thing, you go next, and it would say how many speakers, you would say 2, and you would get a transcription for RaeNotes from a transcription program that you already have gotten. So I say that because I think it's really exciting that you don't actually have to have the audio to get the benefit of the use of the transcription in RaeNotes. But here's where it comes to things that I think are really interesting. So right here we have outcomes. We don't have any yet. We just got into the call. We have the markers. You can choose what you're using. So whether it's the EMCC framework or the UCA Coach Supervision Accreditation, the ICF Coaching Supervision Competency Model, the PCC Markers, those are in Russian and Spanish and Japanese, and the team coaching competencies. You've got the core competencies. You've got the minimum skills for ACC, MCC, and PCC. You've got the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. You got the PAC-5, and you've got these other frameworks that you can use. It will then pull them up. I like the PCC markers. I also will use the minimum skills requirement for MCC, and if I do that, it'll ask me if that's what I really want. And here it is again that I see the competency markers for each of these competencies. So I think, using the minimum skills requirement for PCC is perfectly good for most of us as coaches, so that we start to develop our understanding of what mid-range coaching looks like. Then at a later point, and when I'm done with those competencies, I can come in here and I can choose the minimum skills requirement for MCC, and they change the competencies for that. And so it allows me to go through this at looking at it from the perspective of an MCC assessor. The other thing that it is we're allowed to do here, and I'm going to just put it back to, well, actually, I think I'll do the MCC. I have no scores yet because we haven't even gotten into the transcript yet, but I can go AI assessment, and then I can choose what I want it to assess by. In this particular case, I am going to do it through the 2025 minimum skills requirements for MCC. The coach is the coach. So it'll ask you if I had my name here, it would say Lyssa, and it would say thinker or client. And then I can also put in a custom prompt if I want it to give me really thoughtful feedback on my strengths and on my areas for improvement. I could ask for that. So I might say adopt a mentor coaching mindset and share thoughtfully about strengths and opportunities for development. So I'm going to apply that, and actually I'm not. So I can add a custom prompt if I want to, and you can put all kinds of things there. I'm not going to do that today. So let's go apply. And what will happen is these AI competencies will be ready in 5 minutes. So you can see it's starting to work on this side right here as it is starting to assess this call. I already know how much the speaker spoke, and I know how much the coach spoke. And if I click on coach, it's going to bring up all of the coach's offerings. I don't know that they're all accurate yet. It is an AI transcription process, so it could be wrong. And that is part of the reason we definitely want to listen to it. So we might be going in here and, what do you need to be present and ready for a bit of coaching? And now I can start looking at that. And in that particular case, I would say that that has to do with trust and safety. And I would go apply. And here it is. And so this is at the MCC level, but this is a demonstration of empathy. So I would, put it as a demonstration of empathy. Now, coaching mindset is going to be assessed by the other competencies, but in this particular case, I'm going to do the demonstrates empathy. If I come over here to the scores, I'm going to see that it's also just found some different things. And so it is starting to find them itself. So I might look at what the AI came up with. And the AI is saying consistently stays in the role of coach. This is throughout the conversation. I'm going to agree with that because I think that's true. As soon as I click the checkbox, it becomes my outcome. So here again, the outcomes that were empty now are filled with things. And you can see the ones that I have, one, said yes to, and two, found for myself because it didn't see that one. And so I can kind of go through each of these. So is there something specific emerging that's what you would like to do some coaching around? So I'm starting to identify the focus. I would say that is true. And I think that then remember, we don't count competencies on what the thinker client shares with us. So we want to get into our agreement, our what we say as to how we're looking at the competencies. Again, what would be the focus of our conversation is something sort of coalescing there. So again, I would say, yeah, that's part. I'm still trying to identify what the focus is. So I'm going to say yes to that. And it looks like this may be actually part of the same thing. Like, all right, so this is actually, it goes for you. And the thinker says, kind of like why this is coming up for you a little bit. So on this one, I'm going to say delete. That unfortunately, because it had linked it all, did that. So I'm going to come back in here and apply agreement setting and click that again because it is about finding what the topic is. I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing. But again, this is it's the same thing. It's the agreement setting, and I'm going to go apply again to partner with what to identify. Now, when we come over here, we start to see in the scores that it's got the three places that I have said are partnering to identify the focus, and that's working. There's also now an AI assessment that was done, and so we will take a look at this really quickly, but it is looking at possible client impacts, and we can also look at occasional coach generated. I don't know that it's a risk. It possibly is, but we can start to see that things were met. We can see if it was met or not met, partially met. It's even giving us that, which is really sort of extraordinary. And at the very end, you're going to get some overall strengths. Again, this is AI. You want to make sure that you're using this with your mentor coach, or you're using it with the clarity that this is an AI making this assessment, and you need to make sure of your own work. Some overall opportunities for growth, and I can take a look at those. They may point to things I want to be paying attention to. And would this call be a candidate to consider for MCC? Not yet. It's strong. It's likely a PCC plus quality, but refinement and contracting, question succinctness, and MCC level minimalism would strengthen it for MCC submission. So I don't know if that's true or not. And I also wonder, would want to go in here and see because this is clearly not that succinct. So if I'm actually saying all of this stuff, I would agree with it. And I would then also look to the rest of the call, because you're not going to pass or not pass based on what this AI says. You're still going to want to go through and see whether or not it is accurate, on point, or not. But regardless of that, it starts to give you an idea. And I might look at this and I might go, you know what? I would submit it for an MCC assessment. Or I might go, you know what? I need to learn from what the AI shared with me as growth opportunities and start to really calibrate my coaching a little bit. So right here, there's also a tab under the transcription tab where you can change this. So I typically put my name, and then I typically put thinker. And so when I do that, it changes it here in the transcript. So now we got Lyssa and thinker. I like that. It fits with my vernacular. And also, there is an AI summary. So it talks about what the potential topics are that this thinker is bringing into the conversation. It also it captures a lot of them. It also talks about the client request to be more intentional with time and decision during semi-retirement. Moderate to high reflection with expressions of excitement about spaciousness and potential, occasional guilt, etc. And decision. There was a commitment and next steps. And so it even will capture all the next steps that this particular thinker had in this conversation. Again, it's a great way of starting to have a different way of looking at your work. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's another tool out there as thoughtful or useful as this particular one for our personal growth. So we can see that I spoke for 7 minutes. And I paused for 1 minute, and I talked to listen ratio was apparently 23 to 77. The thinker spoke for 22 minutes and paused for 7 minutes, and the talk to listen ratio was the opposite, 77 to 23. And you can start to see those on these little pie charts, which is pretty cool also. And again, I'm going to go through this call, and I may find that there are acknowledgments of learning and growth. The AI just didn't capture them yet. The thing that I also love is if I need another assessment, if I want to get this assessed at the PCC level, if I come in here and I go minimum skills for PCC, and I click on that and it goes okay. And I go AI assessment, and I change it for the PCC, who's the coach. It will only be able to do this once per document. So if I want to get it assessed at the PCC level, I'm going to need to come over here and make a clean copy. I don't need to upload the audio again. I don't need to do anything other than make a clean copy. When I do that, I'm going to have a completely clean copy that I can then run through the AI assessment at the PCC level. Now, this is great if what I'm really doing is working on my PCC, or if I just want to see what I did well at the PCC level so that I'm just getting a little bit more data and information. And this really brings us then to how do you use this? ICF is making changes in 2027. And so mentor coaches are going to have a lot more responsibility in the assessment of people's work and showing development over those individual one-on-one mentor coaching sessions that you have. So what will happen in RaeNotes is that you're going to find that for me, especially with the fact that I already use RaeNotes exclusively for mentor coaching, is that it's a great way to share your material with your mentor coach, and your mentor coach can really capture notes. I can give my own feedback. I can look at the things that I saw the AI said, but then I can go through, and as I'm listening, I can determine for myself what I think your real skills and strengths and opportunities for growth are. And I can also capture notes all the way along the way. So for instance, you mentioned several sorts of themes that they seem, they may overlap or intersect, but who I'm being, and sort of, if you were to summarize that, what would be the focus of our conversation as something to kind of coalesce there for you. And so I might write a note and go sort of wordy. A choice point might be, you mentioned several themes. Is one emerging as the most useful for today's conversation? Question mark. And I can then add that there. And as a mentor coach, then also, and as a coach getting mentor coaching, you've got this narrative all in the transcript with you, and you can share it with your mentor coach so that they can come in and do the work inside the same exact transcript. Or if I had uploaded this for my mentor coach client, I would put their email address in here and say that they can edit. I would allow them to edit and share, but if I'm sharing it with one of my calls with somebody, I allow them to edit, but nothing else. And when I click save, it's going to send them an email, and that email will give them a direct link to the coaching transcript and call. And so I would be able to come in here, and it's been shared. I could see that it would say Lyssa deHart, it would say my student's name, and then it would also say RaeNotes if we'd gotten an AI assessment of it. But I think one of the things, and I'm going to stop sharing. One of the things that I really love about this platform is that it gives you such a deep well to draw from for looking at your own coaching and really developing an understanding of the competencies, how they may be manifesting in the questions that you ask or not manifesting, as the case may be. You can start to see your own wordiness. You can start to calibrate the questions that you're asking so that you maybe ask a slightly more concise question. And so I think it's just a brilliant tool. Again, I would encourage you to give it a go, try it out. If you want to help support my work, please follow the affiliate link. It gives you, again, 20 minutes and me 20 minutes. And if you have any questions that show up after watching the video and playing with RaeNotes, drop them in the chat below. Let me know what you think. So many people use RaeNotes already, because I don't know, because so many people know how great it is. If you do, leave your comments below about what you love about RaeNotes. And thank you for being on this call today. Cheers.